King's Podcast.
Silver bells, hear me squeal. It's Christmas time on the podcast. What's up?
Merry Christmas.
Happy Crimbers.
Merry holidays.
Christmas in, when does this come out?
In
June.
June. Yes.
Christmas in June.
Merry Christmas, nephews. Happy holidays, nephews.
Yes. Welcome back to a very special edition of Chris wearing a little sweater.
Chris wearing his
On the
grandma's
pod.
clothes.
That's your grandma's?
Yes,
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting tingling too.
Yeah, I think I borrowed this from her in high school for something, and I just never gave it back to her.
It's been
Bonjour.
a minute, huh?
It has been a minute. We've been
Since
busy.
Recorded. I've been globe trotting around. I've been traveling down, and so have you.
Nice and busy. Got the bebito keeping our hands full.
Yep, you still have a
GH.
living child. That's good.
Yes, we still have him.
Keeping him going. Hell yeah. We're here to talk about episode 11.
11, season 2, episode 11, The Unbearable Blindness of Laying.
Now, what
It's a
is that
fun
a
one.
reference to, Chris?
You want
I know you
my
always like
nuance?
to find the reference.
You want the nuance so far? Yeah, there is some reference here. First of all, this aired on 12/21/97. It is a Christmas episode. It takes place at Christmas. What up, Marette?
There she is. You're on the podcast.
There's the old ball and chain. Hi, Marette.
Yeah, she's doing my laundry for me.
Hilarious. Yeah, this one is a reference. It gets its title from a book written in 1982, but published in 84. Fun fact. Book called The Unbearable Lightness of Being by a man named Milan Kundera.
Is that like a psychology book?
No, it is a I don't entirely know. I haven't read it. It's a Czech book. It takes place in the Prague. It takes place in Prague in
it's like
1968. Yeah, it's a novel. It follows two
Boring.
couples. Yeah, two couples and a dog. As they
I'm back on board.
Yes, as Prague and the Czechoslovakia kind of goes through a people's revolution, and it follows them as the people's revolution is violently crushed by the Soviet Union and other members of the Warsaw Pact. So it's kind of like a historical novel, just a bunch of life stuff. I don't know. If you want to read it, read the book. It's supposedly very well regarded, but I don't know how to read anything other than Wikipedia.
We're not here to fucking read.
Hell no, dude.
We're here to talk about cartoons, brother.
Absolutely. The opposite of reading.
I didn't remember this episode, really.
I did not remember this one either.
Yeah. A lot. I'm back on board with this season.
I know you were off there for a bit, but yeah, this one's good. It's got some really nice guest stars that we'll get into.
It's got a lot of really nice I'm excited to hear about it. Yeah.
This is going to be the first episode. Well, I'll go ahead and read the blurb before we get into This Week in Arlen. So the blurb for this is Hank's mother brings home her new boyfriend, an affectionate Jewish man named Gary. After Hank sees the two of them having relations, he goes blind.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the first episode that we meet Hank's mom, Tilly.
Yeah. Is Gary reoccurring? Does he ever come back? Because I liked him a bunch.
I don't think so. And I think Hank's mom is I think Hank's mom is one of the characters that kind of gets retconned in like
Hmm,
her past, along with like Peggy gets a little bit of retconning. I think Tilly gets some retconning too. So no, I don't think we ever see
interesting.
Gary again. I think there
That's
might
a
actually be
bummer.
like a different stepdad character later on. I don't know. We'll see.
Huh.
Stay tuned, nephews.
What are you doing, step bro?
Dad.
Kind
Anyway,
of, yeah.
should we get into the whole reason we're here,
Yeah, dude.
which is
Let's
this
get
week
into
in
it.
Arlen?
This week in Arlen. I'm excited.
Now,
Wahoo!
of course, this is the segment of the show where we look through what was going on in the world during the time of the episode's airing. Chris mentioned this episode aired on December 21st, 1997, the last episode of 97, brother. We're
About to move into
through a
98.
calendar year. It's about to the new year is nigh. And we always like to start this segment with a peek at the TV guide to see what was else on television.
Mm.
Anything standing out to you here on the TV guide tonight, my
Um,
friend?
let's see. I mean, it looks like a lot of standard Christmas stuff is kind of on. Um, I'm not recalling either of the two Sunday night movies on ABC or CBS.
Yeah,
None of those are
Junior
standing out
and
to me.
A Christmas Memory.
Hmm. Little Women is on NBC though, so banger down there.
Oh, A Christmas Memory looks it doesn't look good.
It doesn't
It
look
does
good.
have a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
Okay.
When his parents split and his New York thespian mother makes her career a priority, exuberant young boy Buddy, played
Mm.
by Eric Lloyd, is sent to the Depression-era South to live with his distant and aging cousins.
Mm.
What?
Nice.
Sounds like a Christmas miracle, dude.
The Depression era South, a great
Yeah,
place to send your child.
exactly. When you're a thespian mother.
Wow, and
Uh,
they're playing this as a Christmas. Oh, that's Junior. Still, they're
it's a
playing it at
Christmas
Christmas time though.
memory. Yeah,
Oh,
a
interesting. Oh,
Christmas memory.
oh, that was a Christmas memory, or that was
Yeah, that
Junior.
was a Christmas memory. That was not Junior. I don't know what
Oh,
Junior is.
how does Christmas tie into that? That sounds so
I
terrible.
don't know. I'm looking up
Um,
Junior. Junior
yeah.
has Danny DeVito in it.
Oh, whoa. Okay, DeVito alert.
And is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah.
Oh, I
Arnold
thought that was
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, but it's not twins.
okay. What? They did a different movie together that's not twins?
Yeah, and it's 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. A research scientist becomes the world's first pregnant man. This is the one about a dude getting pregnant.
What?
I've heard of this movie. I've never actually seen it though, but
And
apparently it's very bad.
It's
It's
DeVito and Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant. He tests a drug that he and a colleague have designed for expectant women. Uh, he
What?
has an embryo implant and he
What?
will, yeah, believing he will only carry the baby for 3 months. And yeah, oh my God, yeah, I guess
Oh
a
my
man
God.
gives birth to a baby in this movie.
Whoa.
Tune in next week when we stop talking about King of the Hill and we only talk about this movie from now on.
I I want to watch it. Was this before or after Twins though? Because was it like they did Twins and they were like, that worked so great. Let's do it again. Or was
This
it
was
like that?
1994 and Twins came out in 1988. So this was kind of
Wow.
like
So they said run
DeVito
it.
Schwarzenegger running it back
They said run it
situation.
back. Wow.
Dude, I'm
Okay.
so intrigued by this
Okay.
movie. All
Nephews,
right, we'll come
if
back.
you have any thoughts on that, chime in the comments and we'll talk about it next week, maybe.
Yeah, I might actually watch this
If
this
you can
week.
find
I will
where to
be
watch it.
traveling for work, so maybe I watch it on a plane.
Yeah. That'll be weird.
Can I
Watch on
talk
a
about The
plane.
Simpsons now?
Before you do, I just want to call out the title for the show, All Right Already Again, because
Oh
you know we
fuck.
love their
God damn it.
again with
This
the
show,
laser
dude.
surgery.
It's a
That's gonna
repeat.
that's gonna be a tie-in to this episode. There's a little joke about a
Oh, the
laser.
laser in the doctor's office. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny. I did
Again with the
enjoy that.
laser surgery.
This I like.
Yes, this I like. Yep. All
Simpsons.
right.
Okay episode.
Tell me about Miracle on Evergreen Terrace.
This is a decent one.
Hmm.
This one is it's a Christmas special as well, Bart sneaks up in the night to open some presents before everyone wakes up, sneaky style, and
Mhm.
accidentally burns the tree down,
Yep.
destroying all of the presents
Yep.
because they put a bunch of like fake snow all over it. It's like super
Okay.
flammable.
Yeah.
And then he fakes a story saying that the house was broken into and someone stole all the presents.
Mhm.
And then has like a moral conundrum about it because everyone in the town bands together and like gets them a bunch of very nice gifts, and then they find out that they were lying about the whole
Mm.
getting broken into thing.
Okay.
It's a good episode.
All right.
Yeah,
Does Bart learn his lesson?
he does.
Okay,
Yes.
that's good. That's all
And
I
it is
care
a
about.
Christmas miracle.
That's all I care about.
And it is merry and it is joyous. And we are moving on
Moving
to
on.
Titanic
Ooh.
finally hitting the big screen. We talked about the
Oh.
premiere last week.
Oh.
Now it is the #1 film, and I'm sure Titanic will come back several times because this
Mhm.
movie was ginormous.
Honestly, it was a defining moment for the late 90s.
It really
Titanic
was.
Titanic carried into the 2000s. Titanic
Paint me
fever.
like one of
And
your French girls, those fucking dumb billionaires that died.
I was
That
gonna
was
say,
cool.
man, Titanic fever is real. It has caused people to lose their lives.
Yep. Controlling a submarine with a video
Mhm.
game
I think I
controller.
made a joke about it. Yeah.
You did, yeah. Yeah. Shout
I
out to
stand
the
by it.
Oops All Segments episode.
Yes, that was a very fun one.
Yeah. So this movie was out. Obviously, it was the top of the box office.
Mhm.
A couple other really big movie releases this week. You
Yeah,
know,
what else we
Christmas
got?
time is the time for film releases. Tomorrow Never Dies, Pierce
Ooh,
Brosnan Bond.
are you a Brosnan Bond man?
I have never seen a single James Bond movie in my entire life.
Never ever any of them.
Not a single one. I feel like I should,
Whoa.
but yeah.
Whoa. I'm partial to the Daniel Craig Bond, honestly. He's who I grew up on, so I'd start with him.
Grew up Bond.
Yes, grew up Bond.
He's who I grew up Bond.
Nice, dude. Nice. Should we stop it there? That was the best joke
Yeah.
we're gonna get all day, man.
Should we just end the
Yeah.
show? All
Mhm.
right. See you guys.
We gotta chug this.
Psych.
Psych!
Got
Yeah, I mean pretty much GoldenEye that's
Mhm.
my main exposure to Bond.
Just Nintendo 64.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Jackie Brown also came out this week.
Ooh,
That's Quentin Tarantino's first movie.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. It's a good one. Sam
Yeah, man.
Jackson,
Yes. Sam Jackson, Pam Grier, Mike
Robert De
Keaton,
Niro,
Bobby Denis.
Baba Danoush. Mr. Magoo also came out this week. The live
Whoa.
action Mr. Magoo starring Leslie Nielsen.
Oh,
Disney.
that's a feel good for you for sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing this movie. I remember seeing Titanic in a drive-in. I think we talked about that on last week's episode.
Yes, I think we did.
But most importantly, a
And I
movie that really
went-
stuck out.
You went down like the ship, I think you were saying.
Yeah, we made
At
a
the
lot of
drive-in.
Titanic
Yeah.
jokes.
They probably weren't
about
that good.
me having a boner as like a 6-year-old.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Shout out to the Bois guys.
Oh, they really brought it out.
A movie that really stuck with me, though, rounding it out for movies, American Werewolf in Paris. This was a sequel to American Werewolf in London, I
Mhm.
believe, but it like didn't have any of the same cast and was just kind of like it was one of those like shitty sequels. I remember watching this on VHS at my grandparents' house and being so scared.
Yeah, so scared of this CGI frame right here.
No, that's practical effects.
That's practical.
This
No
is a
way.
this is a dude in like prosthetics.
Oh wow, it's really it's honestly
the werewolf
background.
looks real dumb in this movie.
Interesting.
Highly
Wow.
recommend it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
they did a decent job of making their practical effects look like late 90s, early 2000s video game graphics. So
Oh yeah.
good job. I haven't
Yeah.
actually seen American Werewolf in Paris.
I mean it's been a very long time since I've
Mhm.
seen it, but
It just plays in your dreams.
yeah. Yeah, but I kept this one pretty heavy on the movies. But just a couple other things to round it out here. In music news,
Yes.
Sex and Candy was the number one alternative hit on the airwaves. I feel sex and
candy.
Yams.
Yams.
Marcy Playground. Do they have any other songs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Like, do they have another song?
I'm sure they do. I have a fun Marcy Playground story for you. Rachel and I were dating. Yes, Rachel and I were dating back in high school, and
it's Chris's wife.
Yes, my wife. My wife.
My wife.
There was
really catchy.
She I had a romantic rival, so to speak.
Someone else was vying for your beau's heart.
Yes. I was his rival.
Did you guys duel, or
he was not mine because Rachel wasn't actually interested in him? But anyways,
I'm gonna come.
Friend is playing a little open mic thing, so Rachel and I go to this open mic thing together. This guy says he's gonna dedicate a song to his friend Rachel, and then plays this song.
And this was your romantic rival? You guys went to go see a guy that was interested? You're just cucking this dude.
We were all sort of all part of the same friend group.
You're like, yeah, I'm gonna take your girl to go see your show.
Yeah, and then he was like,
and did that work? Did that swoon her?
It got her to marry me, so it worked for me.
So, if any of you are young prospective lovers, do not dedicate a song to someone
to your
at
friend's
your open
girlfriend.
Mic, if it's gonna be Sex and Candy.
Yeah.
Was this like an acoustic cover of Sex and Candy?
Yes. It was. Yes.
So funny. Oh, that poor guy.
Silly. Yeah.
Shout out. What's his name? First and last?
Not gonna do it.
All right, rounding it out here.
Yep.
It was Samuel L. Jackson. Speaking of which, 39th birthday.
Wow.
This kind of feels like the start of his career in a way, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Jackie Brown. Because then, like, at this point, he hadn't done Pulp Fiction yet. He hadn't done Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, that's gonna come way later. Yeah. Wow. He was 40 at the end of the 90s. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson
that would make him what today? Add on another 30. Is he coming up on 70?
He might be, dude.
Sheesh.
He might be, dude. It's just rage that fuels him.
Yeah. And you can see for the video viewer, for the viewer, if you're watching this, I've got a nice little say happy birthday again.
Ask yourself a question. What does Marcellus Wallace look like?
But that'll pretty much round it out for this week in Arlen.
Good week movie-wise, man.
That's a solid week. I do have next week prepped as well, and there's some fun tidbits in there.
Good stuff there.
We have an award show. I love to talk about like the awards show, the People's Choice, coming up next week. So
the choice of the people. Tune in, bruv.
Tune in. All right, let's get into this
episode.
Dude.
Let's get into the
fucking crank it out, half an hour style.
Unbearable Blindness of Laying. We already said when it came out. We said the blurb.
We did.
Written by Judge Daniels and Paul Lieberstein, who has written.
That's Toby.
That is Toby Flenderson from The Office. Yes. Paul Lieberstein is also director, producer on a whole lot of other stuff. The Office, obviously.
We've talked about him, right?
Yeah, he's Paul Lieberstein. He's
come up.
He's a living legend. Yep. Currently still working legend. Paul Lieberstein is a Jewish man. This is going to be a very Jewish Chris special. Is that German? It's a joke from later on.
Nope.
Future joke. Yeah, he's a co-producer on seasons 3, 4, and 5. So pretty heavily involved here with the show.
Yeah.
Directing, of course, is going to be Wes Archer, and then we have Cindy Tang directing on this as well.
Is she new?
I think this is this is either her first or second time directing on King of the Hill, but she does go on to direct 18 other episodes of King of the Hill. So she's
Okay.
fairly involved. I did a dig of her profile, and she spends most of her time in art departments, it looks like, for shows. She is involved in 158 episodes of The Simpsons as well.
I am seeing Family Guy on here as well.
Yeah.
10 episodes.
Yeah, you'll usually find her in a lot of art department credits, but she has directing credits in a lot of stuff too. So yeah, it's a hot open for this one.
Spicy.
It's going to open with, a little bit of Christmas rock and roll.
I loved the music in this episode.
Yeah,
the
this
little
music was nice.
Twangy Christmas vibes.
A little
Immediately
rock
stood out. I was like, that's nice. That's a nice touch.
Everyone's putting up their decorations. Boomhauer just puts a tangle of lights in his window and plugs it in, which I thought was funny.
And of course, Hank has the nicest on the street. We didn't get to see Khan's, did we?
No, we did not get to see Khan's decorations. It's a good point.
Do you think they celebrate? They're Buddhist. They probably celebrate somewhat, right?
Probably. I don't know. Maybe that comes up in some later episodes. I could definitely see them not participating, but I could also see Khan taking the challenge and participating just to spite and beat Hank.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like competing over the lights. I meant to ask, is there another notable King of the Hill Christmas episode? I can't really think of one.
I think there are a few.
There's a few?
I think so. Cool. I don't think they do one every single year, but I think there are a few other ones.
Yeah. Do you have any like standout favorite Christmas? I love a Christmas episode. We talked about it a lot on the Halloween episode. Do you have any standouts that you like go back to every year? I definitely do.
I mean, like, as far as general Christmas media, yes, like it's Muppet Christmas Carol every year.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
I've got Robin the Frog, Tiny Tim. I've got him right back there for the video watcher.
But as far as like specific Christmas episodes of cartoons or TV shows, I don't think so. No. You have a favorite,
Hey Arnold,
I'm guessing?
Hey Arnold has a great one.
Oh, yeah.
They reunite Mr. Wynn with his daughter that he was separated from during the Vietnam War.
Is that also the country episode where he sings, or is that later on?
That's a later episode, but that episode
that's Randy Travis in that episode.
Yeah.
Love that.
I actually love that song that he sings in that episode too. Simpsons have some really good Christmas specials. Bob's Burgers is kind of like they're clutch with Christmas.
They go all out for their holiday episodes, though.
They're great with Halloween and they're great with Christmas.
Yeah, Hank's house is looking nice. It's got the most lights, and we open up to some real, just obvious and loud hammer folly. Just two clacks of a real loud hammer. I don't know if you picked that up. It was like clack, clack. I was like, oh,
I did.
Yeah. So yeah, Hank's putting up the lights. Peggy comes out and says, hurry up, your mom's plane lands in 30 minutes. Hank's like, I just got to make sure all the lights are right here. Red, blue, green, white. Red, blue, green, white. He was saying
just stalling.
He was definitely stalling, and I checked whenever he was saying it. I was like, is that the correct visual order? And it was. I was gonna nitpick. I wanted to. So yeah, they're at the airport. They're at the airport, and
so specific, man.
Hank didn't know that his mom had a boyfriend. Hank says that she said she had
friend.
Gentleman friend. Hank just thought they drank tea together. But Peggy's like, I've never heard your mom so happy.
She's getting that good dig.
Yeah. Hank says Hank is dubious of Tilly's new boyfriend. Hank says that he's just gonna treat her like a footstool, like my dad did. We get a very quick flashback.
Cotton literally using her as a footstool.
Cotton has got his feet up. He has a beer in his hand and a cigar, and he says, "Scrub-a-dub-dub, I think I'm in love."
So that's his flashback to it.
Yes, and Peggy is like, "Oh, you're exaggerating," and Hank's like, "Not really." So then we get the shot of Hank's mom, Tilly, carrying 2 pieces of luggage down the ramp. And this is going to be our first guest star of the episode.
Oh, Tilly.
Yes, 2 guest stars this episode. So Tilly is going to be played in 2 episodes this season by female country music Hall of Fame and Mount Rushmore face Tammy Wynette. You know who Tammy Wynette is, Brad?
No.
Oh, Bradley. Yeah,
Tammy Wynette.
Tammy Wynette. She has a very distinct voice. Her music career began in earnest in 1966 with a song called Apartment Number 9. She had 3 number ones.
It goes Apartment Number 9. I wish that you were fine.
Yeah, that's not too far from her voice.
Really?
It's very far from her voice, actually. It's very distinct.
I don't recognize her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of songs that I want to discuss of hers because they're very interesting. She, she had 3 number 1 hits in the 60s, and she went on to chart through the 80s. One of her most famous songs is called Stand By Your Man. Have you heard of Stand By Your Man?
Yeah.
So Stand By Your Man is a song written from the perspective of a wife who knows that her husband is cheating, and she declares that she's okay with it.
That's awesome.
And that you have to stand by your man. Yes, here we go. See how much we can get away with. Very distinct.
He does have
voice.
a nice voice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I don't want this episode to get taken down.
Man. You should listen to that song.
Did Dolly Parton do that song too?
It's a very famous song.
Okay.
It's gotten a lot of backlash from critics and
from
feminists.
The fucking woke feminists, dude.
Yes.
Get out of here with that shit. Am I right?
A lot of her...
Boo. Yeah.
A lot of her songs are very very kind of heartbreaking. So there's Stand By Your Man. There's a song that she has called DIVORCE. It's about it's about getting a divorce.
Okay.
And it's spelled out like that because she's singing the song and talking about how she has to spell out words in front of her son.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, it's very sad. And then she has another song.
What happened to you, Tammy? God.
She got her heart broke. She got another song called Play House, which is about like hearing her daughter say that she doesn't want to play house because it makes her mom cry and it made her dad leave.
Jesus.
They're real heartbreaky songs, but she's got a really great voice, Tammy Wynette.
She's also Hank's mom.
She's Hank's mom in 2 episodes. She's married to George Jones. You know who George Jones is, of course.
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, the king of country music, George Jones. She was married to him for a little while.
Oh, he's a looker. Look at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, they're both dead. If you really want to get into some Tammy Wynette, I'll leave you with one plug here. She does an album with Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, and Loretta Lynn. It's called Honky Tonk Angels. It's mostly covers. And yeah, it's Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn. Patsy Cline is on a song on that album. It's very good.
Okay.
So yeah, Tammy Wynette, country music superstar and legend. Before we move on from her,
rest in peace.
I know you'll like this reference because you're a nasty woman. We're going to talk about Brad's favorite politician, Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Whenever the Clinton sex scandal was going on, there's a clip you can find Hillary Clinton saying it. She's like giving a press quote and saying that this situation is not some type of Tammy Wynette stand by your man type of thing. So Hillary says like this situation is not a stand by your man like Tammy Wynette, but it was.
All right, this is going to be a long episode because
I
need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. I'm sitting here because I love him and I respect him and I honor what he's been through and what we've been through together. And you know, if that's not enough for people, then heck, don't vote for him.
Heck, don't vote for him.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so Tammy Wynette, pretty
Right.
big deal if Hillary's name dropping her.
Uh, Pokemon go to the polls.
Yes, hilarious. So, anyways, yeah, Tilly is played by Tammy Wynette, but yeah,
Hell yeah.
Tilly comes down the ramp and Hank is like, oh, he doesn't carry the bags. Tilly
Oh
is
yeah, we're
gonna,
talking about King of the Hill. Shit.
yeah, dude, we're back. I know you're in the Wynette hole.
I just went down a Wynette hole, listeners.
So yeah, Tilly comes down the ramp. She shakes Hank's hand.
I
Hank won't
love
even
that.
hug his mother.
Yeah. She puts like 2 hands on Hank's like, nah, 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 nah.
He's like, "Mother, we're in public, one hand only." And she's like,
So
"But I missed
funny.
you so much." He won't even hug his mom.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a nice touch.
yes. They're Tilly is like, they served us meat on the plane. Peggy says we didn't know how to spell his name, so sorry, we won't have a stocking for him. And Tilly is like, well,
Drops.
he's Jewish. They don't really do that anyway. And Hank,
Yeah.
takes a shot at him and says like, well, do they carry bags in his family? But then, yeah, Gary Kastner is going to walk up. He's got a great opening line. He says, "You flush, and where does it go?" Which I thought was very funny that if she came off the ramp with both bags, was he shitting on the airplane still?
Either he was shitting on the airplane or he waited because he didn't want to shit on the airplane. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I think he was shitting somewhere. I think we
He
can
was shitting
safely
somewhere.
assume that he had just shat.
Yeah. I think he meant he shit on the plane, and I'll talk about that theory later. Yeah, he says you flush, and where does it go? Oh,
Yeah.
Tilly is defending him to Hank earlier and says like, he's got a big heart. Well, the doctor says it's enlarged.
Enlarged. Really
Very-
good. So many good, just like kind of one-liners in
Yes.
this episode. Also, immediately upon meeting Gary, fucking
Mhm.
love this guy. Love this character so much. Holy shit, he's so funny.
I like
Just
him
like
too.
him and Hank, it was such a perfect dynamic that he's just like touchy and like
He's
just
very
like comes up and gives Hank a hug. So
Yep.
good.
Pokes his belly, says, "I remember this from your baby pictures," and pokes his little belly. Yeah, gives him a hug, and they're wearing matching tracksuits, which is very cute.
Steezed out, honestly.
Yes. So back at the Hill residence, Hank says that he's going to put, Tilly in the den, and he put a cot in Bobby's room for Gary. And they're like, that won't be necessary. And Tilly is like, Hank, are you saying that like you're not comfortable with Gary and I sharing a bed? And Hank is like, I wasn't thinking about it before, and now I am.
Yeah.
Gary Kastner is going to be our second guest star of this episode.
The voice sounded very familiar, but I couldn't quite.
It should. So Gary is voiced by comedy legend Carl Reiner.
That's what I thought.
Also a Jewish man, passed in 2020 of natural causes. Carl Reiner has won 9.
Talk about a lot of dead people on this show, don't we?
A lot of dead people. Yes, we do. Yeah, he's got 9 Emmys across acting, writing, and producing. He got his start in Broadway and then made his jump to the kind of variety shows of the era, writing, acting. He a lot of the times would play the straight man, or
he
had
was
a
in
very
The Jerk with Steve Martin.
I would say he was in The Jerk. I had that written down.
And The Man with Two Brains.
He was a writer producer for the Dick Van Dyke Show. He's also some of his most current works. He's in Ocean's 11 and 13. He's the
what
the old
happened
guy.
In 12, bro?
He's the old guy. I don't think he's in 12.
He's in 12.
Is he? Oh,
it's okay. He's yeah.
Oh God.
He's in there.
Oh God.
He did a lot of stuff with Steve Martin for sure.
Love Steve Martin. I wonder if we get a Steve Martin guest anytime.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I can't really think of any time that he's done voice acting.
Yeah. So yeah, Carl Reiner, straight up legend, is going to play Gary here, and he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
So we're
excellent
out.
character.
we're out in the alley, and Hank keeps saying him and he to the guys, and Bill's like, why are you calling him that? Like, and this Hank's like, well, his name is Gary Kastner. And Dale is going to go, Kastner? Is that German? Was my joke from up top. Thank you. Call back.
It's really good.
Thank you. Hank is going to say, no, it's Jewish.
It's really good when you mention it too.
All the best jokes have to be explained and pointed out.
Yes, exactly.
Much like they have to be explained and pointed out, Hank says he's Jewish, and Dale goes, so he's Jewish.
Is he funny?
Yes. Dale says there's nothing problematic about that in and of itself. And so you're like, oh my God, are we going to get some real anti-Semitic views from Dale this episode? And we don't.
It's always just kind of like unsaid.
It's very thinly veiled, and I think the most obvious one is him saying there's nothing a problem about that in and of itself.
But, of itself, yeah. It's like they're a little suspicious.
Yeah, they are. Bill is like, is he funny? Seinfeld's funny. And he's like, Seinfeld is funnier than Gary, and Hank's like annoyed and doesn't want to talk about him. And he's like, well, is he funnier than Cotton? He's like, Boomhauer's like, man, Cotton's not funny at all. And then
dang old POW camp.
Yeah, Boomhauer rambles on about how apparently Cotton told him some POW stories about bamboo shoots under his fingernails, and Boomhauer's like, dang, it'll freak me out.
I loved that.
So yeah, Cotton's
and then
not
there
funny
also
at all.
is a really funny thing about like Hank saying that he like doesn't even eat steak, and then Bill thinks that it's because cows are sacred to Jewish people.
Bill is going to say something very funny. He's going to say, Whoopi Goldberg is funny. Listeners, if you don't know, Whoopi Goldberg is not Jewish, and that is not her real name.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that? Her name is Karen. Her name is Karen Johnson.
Which is not.
Yes, it is, bro. Whoopi, yes, that's a name she took. Yes, she took the name to make a way into the entertainment industry as a black at the time.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
It's pretty funny, actually.
It's Karen Johnson. That's so
you
funny.
Didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
So funny.
Oh, you learn something new I'm learning a lot this episode.
Before we exit the alley, Bill is going to say that he's skeptical of religions that have dietary restrictions because he doesn't want to get into heaven that way.
Yeah.
Thought that was pretty good.
All right, we got to get to the first commercial.
Yes, we do. We're in Bob's bedroom getting ready for bed. Bobby is like, hey, you and I have the same build.
That was really good.
Yeah. Bobby and Gary are going to get along.
Yeah.
He says, you have a scar. Were you a war hero like my grandpa? And Gary says, I spent most of my time in Korea in a sub in the middle of in the Pacific. And then Bobby is going to say, hey, when you flush on a submarine, where does it go?
Which is the same thing
that he said about the plane, which makes me think he was shitting on the plane. Because when you're in a plane, where does it go? I mean, it goes into a tank, obviously, idiots. But I think that's a funny thing to know.
It just drops out of the plane.
Just like it drops out of the sub. The submarine depressurizes, and oh no. Yeah.
And then a bunch of billionaires get crushed.
So Bobby makes a joke about flushing on a submarine, and Gary says, you're pretty funny. He says, you I like.
And Bobby is enamored with that. Bobby
picks up on it. He said, he's like, you said you I like instead of I like you. He goes, that's funny. So Bobby's gonna pick that up.
Yeah, it's the cool way that people from Arizona talk.
Hank can't sleep. He's gonna get up in the middle of the night and go to the living room.
No, that's later on.
No, this is right after. In the middle of the night. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He wakes up, goes into the living room where Gary is eating something, and he's like, what am I eating? Hank's like, it's chicken fried steak. And Gary's like, I'm going to count this as chicken because I can eat chicken.
Yeah, but it's
which
definitely
is pretty
steak,
funny.
Right?
It's steak.
For our non-Oklahoma/Southern type viewers or listeners, they eat this thing called chicken fried steak that is just really overcooked steak with like chicken breading over it.
Yeah, you
And
pound
then
it
they
flat
put
and then
white
you
gravy
fry
on
it.
it.
Mm-hmm. It's delicious. If you're in Oklahoma City, go to Cheevers, get their chicken fried steak. What up?
It is actually really good.
It is. So Gary starts to try to open up to Hank about his relationship with his mom, and Hank is like, I can't talk right now. My program's on. He turns the TV on and he's like, I would, like, don't talk to me during my TV program. And we see him, there's like a healing televangelist on
Yeah.
that's trying to heal a person of the hiccups.
So this guy thinks that Hank gets up at like 2 a.m. to watch
Televangelism.
evangelical like mumbo jumbo on TV.
Yeah, but Gary doesn't
Which
judge
is
him for
a really
that.
funny. Yeah, I know. It's like a nice recurring through line that he like thinks that Hank is like a religious
Yes.
kook also.
It's gonna come back for sure. The next morning, the next day, we are in the kitchen. Peggy suggests getting a minora. She's gonna pronounce menorah with her Spanish accent that she does.
Yeah. So it's so perfectly obnoxious.
She says that Bobby can blow out the candles and make a wish on Hanukkah
Make
Eve.
a wish, which is how it works.
They just
That's
obviously
what they do.
they don't know anything about the holiday, but they are trying.
It's a birthday cake.
Yeah. Yeah, Bobby repeats some of the quote unquote Arizona talk. I just think it's very funny that Bobby has no like reference for like East Coast New York City kind of speak or slang. The family is headed to a basketball game. Luann wants to go because if she
line from
the tip off, she doesn't know which basket the teams are going for. It's like,
and
doesn't
she's
make
so
any sense.
excited.
Yes. An 8th grade like this doesn't come around but once in a decade. Tilly is not going to go though. Once the Hills leave the house, Gary is going to come in and said, it was a long night without you, puppy. And Tilly's like, it was a long, hot night.
He's got the mistletoe.
Yeah,
going.
he's got your mistletoe right here.
They're ready to go fucking bump Fuglies, dude.
Yes, dude. And we cut over to the Hills. The Hills are in the car, and Hank is grilling Peggy about his foam finger. He's like, "Did you bring my foam finger?
The one with the number 1 on it?"
Yes, the basketball one. Peggy's like, "Ah." So they turn around. They just straight whip a Yui in the middle of a 2-lane highway to head back to the house. Hank runs inside to get the finger, and he's like, "Huh, that's my mother's robe." It's like, as soon as we leave the house, and he's making her do the laundry, and then he starts to follow the trail of clothes, and he's like,
"Yeah, like
sounds like the
dialogue.
Sounds like the dryer's on, but their clothes are right here." And then we see him opening the kitchen door, and then we get some nice jazzy drum-based music, and we get some real nasty images.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna come.
Liver spots.
Will you put the foot image up as the thumbnail? Maybe
it's all gonna be up here. Yeah.
Oh baby. So yeah,
it's
Hank
taking up the whole screen right now. They're flying at you. I had to see it, so now you do too.
Yeah, Hank sees some old skin on skin, some hands gripping the table, a salt shaker fall off, the veiny leg. Oh, and then most notably, he sees a tattoo of the USS Trout. Gary's got a tattoo. The submarine he was on was the USS Trout 2, which I thought was funny that a sub would be called the Trout and that there were 2 of them.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a real sub.
There might have been a Trout 1. But yeah, Hank steps away from this. His vision is blurring. Real. No shit.
Yeah.
Hank goes blind, tries to go out to the car, and the family's like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I've gone blind." And that's our commercial break, is Hank going blind.
Yeah. His eyes.
Yes, we cut back to, and yeah, they're in the car, and Hank's got these crazy eyes, and Bobby goes, "Blind, he's gone now." That was very funny.
That felt like it could have been the cut to the commercial with that joke. Like we come back to that joke, and then they cut to another scene.
Yeah, that's a good note.
That interesting to me.
That should have been the cut.
Yeah.
So after the car, we're in I think my favorite scene of the episode, And the
Yes,
spousal
the doctor's office.
the spousal stamp of approval goes to this episode specifically for this scene. Sometimes I
Oh,
watch.
you watched it with Rachel?
Sometimes she watches alongside me, and a lot of the times she's not paying attention or doesn't think something's funny. She loved this doctor scene, so I loved it too. It's the
I
doctor
thought it
here
was
is
great.
very obviously voiced by Stephen Root, but he opens and he's going to say, "Now, Mr. Hill, I know I asked you this earlier, but you didn't poke yourself, did you?" Talking about poking himself in the eye.
Mhm.
Hank's like, "No, I told you, I just went blind." And Peggy's all worked up, and she's like, "What kind of doctor are you? What are these machines for?" She's like, "What is that laser for? Use that laser on my husband." And the doctor goes, "All right."
Yeah, I just love how he's just like, sure.
Yeah. So then there's that's my
I guess.
that's my other callback to the TV guide, Brad. This is my other future joke explained again. The all right already.
Yes.
Again with the laser
you.
surgery. Okay.
Yes.
Explaining my callbacks today. Exactly. Yeah, Peggy is just like, "Use that laser on my husband." He's like, "All right."
That's a very like quotable line.
Mhm. Peggy is like, "You didn't open the microwave before the ding, did you?" Which I feel like was like a late 90s thing where they're like, "Don't open the microwave."
Yeah, that definitely.
Um,
I was afraid of that as a kid. I was like, it's
yeah.
got like fucking radiation in it.
Uh,
I do love that he basically tells Hank that he's overreacting and that it's all
mhm.
psychological. He's like, everything's completely fine, but he calls it hysterical blindness.
Yes.
Did
He's
you
got
look that up?
No, I did not. Is that real?
It is actually a term that was used. It
Interesting.
says it's an outmoded term for a condition now designated as a form of conversion disorder,
Mm.
which is a functional neurologic symptom disorder.
Well,
Basically, that like I guess this is possible,
I knew that,
like an
bro.
actual
I
thing.
I fucking knew all of that.
Yeah, but there's also a
I knew
movie
it all.
called Hysterical Blindness
Oh,
starring Uma
interesting.
Thurman.
Whoa, Thurman?
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
her roped into this?
In 2002. So it came
Whoa.
out after this episode of King of the Hill.
There's a reference earlier to a Woody Allen Christmas special that has to do with blindness also. But anyways, still here in the doctor's office. Yeah, Peggy, he's talking about hysterical blindness, and he's like, "I got a couple of books on him. Here, you can have them." He just gives the books to Peggy. Hank, they're about to leave, and the guy is like, "Well, whenever you're ready to come back and admit that you poked yourself in the eye, just come on back and I'll fix you up." Yeah,
this doctor's a legend.
the doctor was so funny. And this is, I think, like the second doctor we've seen in the show so far that is just like has
Well, there
terrible
was the
bedside manner.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
ass doctor that
ass
lets
doctor.
Bobby do the the
Mhm.
colonoscopy.
Yeah. A doctor that has like horrible morals is like such a funny character anytime. It's very
It
good.
works in a lot of shit. Like The
It
Simpsons
does.
has Dr. Nick and Dr.
Mhm.
Hibbert. They're both like doctors are. It's a funny bit.
Yeah, it's a very funny bit to have like a semi-competent or like a criminal doctor. It's
Yeah.
very good.
I also love that Hank is using the foam finger as like a cane.
As a cane. He's using the big foam finger to feel around. But yeah, Peggy is driving him home. Peggy is like, "When are you going to tell me what happened?" And Hank's like, "Do you want me to lose my voice too?" And Peggy finally gets Hank to open up, and Hank admits that he saw his mom and Gary in the throes of activity.
Throes of activity is so funny.
Peggy laughs at him, and she says, "You get your sight right back. You get your sight back right now, you big baby."
She also offers to let Hank show her on a doll.
Yeah, I thought that was very
Which is
funny
so
too.
funny to me.
Hank says, like, "How would you feel if you saw your mother and a 65-year-old man on the kitchen table wearing nothing but a submarine tattoo?"
Yeesh.
And Peggy stares forward and she goes, "I eat breakfast on that table." So now it's serious to Peggy.
Yeah, it would be serious to me too.
Yeah, they pull up, and everyone's like, "What happened? What's wrong?" And Hank's like, "I poked myself and the other eye compensated." He's like, it's a wonder of nature." And Gary's like, "Well, in all my years of reading Psychology Today, I've never heard of this. And Hank snaps at him. And he's like, I've got a magazine you should read. It's called The 10 Commandments. But he's not looking at Gary, which is very funny.
See, that's funny because the 10 Commandments, Chris, are not a magazine.
I think they're technically rocks. If you read the story, they're stone tablets, I believe, is what they are.
Should we look into them?
Yes. Absolutely. Drop them in the comments, nephews.
Can you list all 10 actually?
Hank is no.
I can't.
That's why
How many do you know?
That's why you're going to hell, Brad. Kill.
Thou shalt not steal. That's one.
Kill, steal.
Steal. Oh wait, let's see. Hold on.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna pull them up, and we're gonna see how many you can get, brother. This is a little impromptu interlude.
Pop quiz. We haven't done a pop quiz in a while.
I know. All right, are you ready?
Yes. I'm going to try to speed round them. Kill, steal.
Murder. Technically murder, but I will give that to you.
Something about coveting your neighbor's possessions or his wife too. I think those might be different ones. Possessions and wives are separate numbers.
Coveting. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
Okay. So is that lie? False witness, technically? Would that be lie?
I'm not seeing false witness on here.
I think there's something about.
So you got steal, murder. I'll give you the neighbor one. I'll give you that one.
Is this the
one? And you did say
people...
covet too. So I'll give you covet.
Something about like something. This is the one where they talk about like you're not supposed to like have sex with animals or something. No, they don't say that, right? That's not on their list.
It's not on there.
That's not on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not on the list.
Yeah.
I think there's another one about I don't know, like isn't this about like love everybody no matter what or something like that? Or no, I think it's number 8 says like it's okay to hate people if they're different than you. That's number 8 for sure.
Yeah. No, that's on there.
Number 7 is must own 12 guns.
That was an amendment. That was on the Bill of Rights.
Yes. Number 3 is
which is an amendment to the 10 Commandments, right?
It's all coming back. Yes, the Bill of Rights is an amendment to the 10 Commandments. Number 3 is like you're allowed to not pay taxes if you say you're a church.
Yep.
But you are allowed to use taxpayer funded services.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So taxation without representation is out the window. Yeah, I don't have those commandments.
You basically got half.
I got all of them. All of those are true.
So you shall have no other gods before me.
Oh.
You shall not make idols, apparently.
Well, American Idol, ever heard of it?
Exactly. That's why America's going to hell. Big one that you missed. Take the Lord's name in vain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love
the Sabbath. One. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy.
It's on my calendar. So
remember Black Sabbath.
Wow.
And then honor your father and your mother. Moving on.
Oh, yeah. Moving on from the 10 Commandments. That take the Lord's name in vain one always gets me because I think people interpret that to mean like don't say God damn, but what it actually means is
what it means.
No, what it means is don't use God to justify your shitty positions and viewpoints. Is like actually what like using the Lord's name in vain means like using the Lord to justify your stances. But people are like, you can't use it as a cuss word, but it actually means like,
it means don't say.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly. Okay. Now that we're talking about the 10 Commandments.
Oh yeah. King of the Hill. Yeah.
Yes. Hank is pointing at Gary. Thinks he's pointing at Gary, but is pointing in the other direction. And he's like, what is he pointing at? He goes, Hank, you want I should come over there? Bobby picks up on that and says that is
Classic Arizona, dude.
so Arizona.
So funny.
So we're over in the living room and the guys are roasting Hank for being blind. This is very funny. Bill is like, "Hey, Hank, what am I thinking?" And he goes, "You can't see. You can't see what I'm thinking. No one can see what you're thinking, Bill."
You fucking idiot.
Bill
Why does
goes,
Hank have Ladybird on a leash?
"That's his seeing eye dog."
Was that it?
That's what I'm guessing is he's using her to lead him around. But yeah, Bill is like, "Hank, phone for you, ring, ring," gives him his shoe. Hank is like, very funny, throws the shoe, and then Ladybird chases after it and yanks him. So very, very good visual gag here in the living room.
Yeah.
Um,
That was nice to get a little Ladybird cameo too. I missed her.
mhm.
We haven't really seen her all season.
No, we haven't. You're right.
I want a Ladybird episode.
Bobby and Tilly are making cookies in the table, and Peggy comes in. Peggy comes in and quickly swipes the table clean and
Well, I
starts
do
to
like
clean it.
that Bobby is like, I like them thin, like press it down more. So she's like
Mhm.
pressing it into the table too, and Peggy's
Yes.
just like, no.
No.
And so she's assuming that they didn't clean the table after they fucked on it.
Well, who knows? We didn't get that scene. We didn't get the post nut cleanup scene, unfortunately.
They always leave that out in movies, right?
Yes.
They should keep that in a little more. The girl kind of like duck walking to the bathroom. There's crap all over. Yeah.
We get a really sad scene of Hank in the bathroom trying to shave, and he shaves his sideburn off and then cuts his face, and he's kind of frustrated. And Gary is watching from the doorway, and Hank is like, "Jesus, if you're listening, all I want for Christmas is my sight back and a wrench set. But I should probably be talking to Santa about that." As he kind of makes his way out of the room, and here we get kind of Gary is seeing this, and it kind of seems like he's feeling bad for Hank.
Well, and also this furthers his perception that Hank is like really, really religious.
I didn't even notice on that too much, but yeah, I guess you're right. He's
really
praying.
like informs the rest of the episode. I thought this was a really smart scene to include.
Yeah, nice. I didn't really pick up on it, but that's a good catch.
Thanks, man.
So it's Christmas time. Christmas morning, Hank insists on, oh well, we do see them blowing out the menorah.
Yeah,
Bobby does blow out the menorah. Menorah.
I love that Gary just like kind of went with that.
Yeah, I could definitely see him being like,
we can blow out the candles.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the only Jewish person here. Like, yeah, we could do this. Yeah, Gary's a nice family guy, family man, and I like that about him. Hank tries to pass out the presents, but he hands Bobby a present meant for Luann. It's a nightgown, to which Bobby says he's going to wear this when he gets older.
So funny. And Luann's like,
so
what
funny.
the fuck?
Yeah, and Bobby's like, no, this is mine.
Hank is definitely ruining Christmas here, though.
Can we say that? He is. He definitely is. He's trying to grab for a present and accidentally pulls the tree down, knocks the tree over.
Yeah. And he's just being a real Grinch, man.
He's being a Grinch about it.
This kind of disqualified Hank as Hill King for me as I was watching, because I don't appreciate Grinchness.
Yeah, he was very Grinchy, but
holidays.
Says he's just going to go wait outside, to get driven over to Cotton's for Christmas. Peggy's going to come out and try to talk to him, and Hank just is going to kind of stonewall her. He's like, "Are you going to drive me to my dad's or not?" And then we cut into the truck, and Hank's like, "I'll tell you, I'm feeling better already." And then it's Gary that's driving. And that's where we cut to our commercial break. Hank is opening up, probably about to talk shit on Gary. And then it's Gary driving. We get a wall.
That's a good walk cut to commercial.
Yes.
Love to see those.
We cut back to from commercial, and Hank is like, "No, take me home." Like and Gary's like, "I'm not going to do that." And Hank's like, "Well, let me ride in the bed." And Gary's like, come on, Gary just kind of starts trolling him. I think Gary thinks he's kind of overreacting to whatever this beef is. So
he really knows how to push Hank's buttons in like
he
a really
does.
funny and playful way.
He does, because what sets him off in the Christmas scene before the break is Gary goes, and look, another mink coat for Hank. Like to make Bobby laugh.
He's like, I know, Hank, you're probably getting tired of that.
Yep. But in the car, Gary is like, there's a one of those trucks here, a semi, a demi. He's like, there's a billboard. They want us to buy whatever. I can't remember what it was.
He threatens to pick up a hitchhiker.
He's like, there's a hitchhiker with a beard and a gun and a dog. Should we pick him up? It's very
and
funny.
Hank like thinks he's serious.
Yeah, I really loved Gary trolling Hank on the drive. But we pull up to Cotton's for Christmas.
It's the first time we've been to Cotton's house. Yeah.
It's a little sad, but Cotton opens
it's
the door.
extremely sad. What the fuck are you talking about? It's so sad.
Yeah. We open the door.
Ghosts of Christmas Past, man.
Cotton is like, are you still blind? And then just punches Hank straight in the gut. And he's like, you're either still blind or slow, and it could be both.
Yeah.
So just on Christmas opens up with some Hank insults, very Cotton-like. Hank introduces Gary as Mr. Kasner, and Cotton goes, Kasner, happy Hanukkah, which kind of has to, I feel like, harken back to how he kind of acted meeting Khan in the episode that shall not be named. That he immediately knows that Khan is Laotian and not Japanese. Like Cotton immediately knows that Gary is Jewish and wishes him a happy Hanukkah, says, I served with one of your tribe in the Pacific. He goes, did you know? By the name of Brooklyn. By the name of Brooklyn. And he's like, I knew a Jerry Brookstein. And he goes, yep, that's him. I thought was very funny.
So funny.
He goes, let's go get a tree.
He fucking shoots it.
Racks a shotgun, walks out into his front yard, and takes 2 shots to cut down the absolute most Charlie Brown tree you've ever seen.
Is that how they do it in Texas?
Maybe. I don't know, man. I'm not from Texas.
I mean, basically same thing, right?
I don't know. I imagine shooting off your shotgun in your front yard might not go so smoothly nowadays.
Yeah, not in my town.
Unless your front yard is just very big. But yeah, he just shoots down this little sad little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. We're back inside. They're having dinner. Hank's like, this is nice. It's like the way it used to be. Cotton disparages Tilly, and Gary stands up to Cotton about it.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
He even give him an inch.
Cotton is like, Tilly? My old Tilly? And he was like, she was he was like, I don't know what year she said she told you she was, mister, but she was 20 years too old for me. Or she was too old for me 20 years ago or something like that.
I love that Cotton doesn't even question who this guy is. Too. He's just like, so he asks him if he's like a chauffeur. How
long you been a chauffeur? Yeah. That's how it comes up. He says, and I'm just helping Hank out. I'm in town with Tilly. Yeah, that's how it comes up. But yeah, Gary immediately stands up to Cotton, and Cotton respects him and backs down from it, which is not something we would have seen if Hank did.
Well, he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, he did not. So yeah, Gary's like, Hank, I'll wait outside for you. Hank comes out early, and Gary's like, you didn't have to, leave early on my account. And then we hear Cotton being a dick.
Yeah. We don't hear anything from Dee Dee.
No.
I always love whoever does the voice acting for her. Like, she's such a funny character.
Yeah, we only ever hear soft-spoken half sentences from Dee Dee. But yeah. So Hank and Gary get out of there, and Gary finally confronts Hank, and he's like, I can tell you're upset with me. I know what this is about, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he says he's going to take Hank to get some healing. And Hank is like skeptical of going to church with Gary, and says a very funny line about he's not sure how he feels about my God seeing me in your God's temple.
Yeah. Famously the same God, guys.
Yeah. The Hills are Methodists. And it's the Judeo-Christian God. Very, very funny. that was one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, I did
But
like that. And
Gary,
he also calls it Jewishness.
yes, Jewishness.
in this scene.
Gary is going to take him to the healing church that was on TV.
The Canvas Cathedral.
The Canvas Cathedral, and the preacher is going off. Hank and Gary actually have some really nice words for each other. And they kind of squash the beef, and it's a really touching moment here. But they do hug, which was very nice.
The televangelist pastor just immediately thinks that he is the one that cures Hank's blindness.
Yes. So as the pastor is speaking, Gary is like, I got a blind guy right here. And it was right after, Gary and Hank had their hug. Hank gets his emotional resolution, and his sight comes back, and the healer, takes credit for it.
Well, the healer asks if Gary is Hank's father, and Gary is basically like, yeah, maybe someday. And I love Hank says, I guess that would be an all right way to be thinking.
Yeah, it was very
and then
very
they
touching.
like open up that, like, the hug was a very nice like resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved that he got his sight back right as like the preacher guy was gonna touch him, and he like catches the guy's hand.
Yes.
Like his vision comes back and he just like catches a dude's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Very good touch.
The final scene here is Gary and Hank returning to the house in the alley, and the boys are getting ready to start ribbing Hank again. And then Boomhauer's like, he's walking over here, kind of looks like he could see. So then Hank goes to chase down the guys and kick their asses a little bit.
He gets a fucking big ass stick.
Yeah, he's got like a
So
2x4
funny.
or something. Yeah, the first ass I'm seeing is getting kicked, he says in the living room earlier. But
Yep.
credits roll, and then there was a post-credit scene. Did you watch this?
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Luann was wearing a very nice sweater.
She was. It's
sweater.
Christmas dinner. There's some nice music playing, and we basically just get the conversation sounds of the dinner playing out. There's nothing
a lot of
really
eating, chewing.
A lot of sound work, and then we basically
Gary mumbling to himself.
Gary mumbling about how good the food is and how much
He
he's
says,
eating.
so moist this turkey is.
Yes, I had that written down as well. So moist this
Okay.
turkey is. Yeah, it's a cute little ending scene, perfect for a holiday special. That's it, baby. That's
We
all
did
we
it.
got.
We
We
made
did
it
it.
through with a
We took
couple
a-
of twists and turns.
We took a couple of
children.
twists and turns. We talked about Tammy Wynette. We talked about Carl
We
Reiner, and
learned a lot.
we talked a little bit about Hillary Clinton and a lot about the Ten Commandments.
Yeah. We learned about the Ten Commandments. We learned about the true meaning of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Chestnuts opening on an open fire. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
now that we're done with this episode,
Let's take it to the alley.
I think we ought to take it into the alley, brother.
I'm gonna buy you a drink.
This is the segment of the show where we give the episode a rating out of 6 cans. I loved this episode. I do have
Mm-hmm.
some minor qualms.
He's got qualms. Qualm alert. You want to go ahead and give your rating?
I got a minor qualm. Well, let me talk you through what I'm
Okay.
thinking here.
Give me the qualms.
Before we throw numbers down. Really, the only qualm is that we didn't get any sort of resolution with Hank and his mom. It's a mom qualm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There wasn't enough of Tilly.
Not enough Tilly. I agree.
Now, I understand that the point was for Hank to open up to the new guy. But it would have been nice to have just like the little resolution with his mom. It felt like she was kind of left out of the second half of the episode.
Yeah, she definitely was. She definitely was.
But very minor qualm, because I think what they did with Hank and Gary all worked out so well.
Mm-hmm. And we do
And you only have
get
so much time.
we do get Tilly for another episode this season.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that Tammy, and she's not going to be the person who voices Tilly the rest of the season, but we do get Tilly one
Interesting.
more time in this season.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well,
there should be more coming.
yeah, and that I don't even think that qualm takes anything off for me. I think
Yeah.
I'm going 6 on this one.
Yeah. I think I'm hitting 5 here.
A 5-er? Okay.
Yeah, I kind of wanted maybe a little bit more B plot, a little bit more alternate storyline going on.
Yeah, there wasn't really a B plot.
There wasn't really a B plot, and it's a
I guess
Christmas
the
episode.
Bobby
Yeah, I
being
think
like, yeah,
it would have been a little like appropriate, but I think if we could have seen like Bobby getting into Judaism, maybe a bit more, like
yeah.
maybe
I don't know if we would need
following
that.
Mystic. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it was lacking a little B plot. That was all I wanted.
Yeah.
Still very good.
I can agree with that. I just thought the A plot was so good that
The
and it did
visuals
feel
were
like
very
a
nice.
Christmas episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Without like all of the snow and the like typical Christmas shit. It was a very
Yeah.
Christmas theme, like
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
themed.
But it wasn't about the holiday of Christmas.
Yeah,
It just happened to be
take
happening
place on
at Christmas.
Which
Yeah.
are the best Christmas movies? Die
Mhm.
Hard,
Die
Christmas
Hard.
movie. It's not about Christmas, but it's a Christmas movie, you know? And that's why this is a 6 for me.
Yep. I'm taking 5 though, just for kind of lack of B plot. I feel like they could have punched up a couple areas a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm with you. I feel it.
The doctor was my favorite scene though, I
Yeah.
think overall.
Yeah.
So funny.
That scene is really what put it over the edge for me. And there were so many
Mhm.
good like one-off like the thing with the guys making fun of Hank, like
Mhm.
that got a really funny resolution in the end with Hank fucking chasing them with a stick.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. The cotton stuff was all really funny.
Mhm.
Him
The
using
visuals.
Hank's mom as a literal footstool. That's great.
Yes.
So good. Cool. Well, should we crown our kings
We
for the
should.
ep?
We
Do
shall.
our final say?
God dang it, Bobby,
Mhm.
God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, God dang it, Bobby, 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 dang it, Bobby, 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 dang it.
Okay. What are you feeling? King-wise, my friend. Who's the MVP of the ep for you?
I was torn. There was 2 choices here for me,
Okay.
I think, and I am going to go with one of our guest stars. I am going to take Gary Kastner. I'm going to take
Me
Carl
too.
Reiner as Gary Kastner. Yeah.
This is a no-brainer.
He was the perceived antagonist, but he was just an antagonist for Hank, and he wasn't even an
Yeah.
antagonist really at all. I like that he was trolling Hank a lot. It was very funny.
Yep. He's also very sweet, very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. He's a good guy. I liked
funny
him.
lines. Him and Bobby getting along together was very cute.
Bobby was my second pick.
Yeah.
Just
Bobby
for him mimicking and just him thinking that the way that Gary was speaking was because of that's how people in Arizona did it. And he had like no reference for like why.
Really good. And
yeah,
him
that
just,
was
like,
very funny.
Taking on Gary's like personality traits.
Mm-hmm.
Really
That's
cute. Also,
huge Bobby thing.
Peggy was in the running for me. She had like use that laser on my husband.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And the doctor was also a possible chance.
I thought about the doctor too. He was on my list of potentials.
Which speaks even more to how good Gary is, because he is the clearest choice in my mind. That character was just
great.
so good. It's a bummer that he doesn't come back, but I hope he does. I hope we're wrong.
The matching track suits.
Yep. The plane toilet flushing joke.
Where
He's
does
got a
it go?
pacemaker too, which funny. It's funny. Bobby thinking he like was a war hero. Good shit, man. Good episode.
It was a fun one.
Fun little detours there as well.
Yes, lots of fun detours. Go listen to Tammy Wynette, y'all.
Yeah, go check her out. Go learn the 10 Commandments, everyone.
And practice them.
Yes,
Don't just preach them.
This is a very religious show.
Yes.
Go to
Yes.
church. Cool, man. We did it.
We did.
Wrapped that one up. Next week we got a big one.
Next week is Meet
up.
the Manger Babies.
I have not seen this episode since I was a kid, but I remember it. Like, I remember it being a standout. So I'm excited to revisit it.
I've given it a watch. It's very good. Next week's episode was the one where I looked at the title list for this season and I was like, oh, Manger Babies is in this season.
Yeah, it stood out to me as well. And I'm excited to have a Luann episode.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time, nephews.
We'll see you next time. Go check us out if you're listening on audio or on YouTube. You can go. You can see This Week in Arlen. You can see all the stuff. You can see our faces. Blah, 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 blah. If you do listen via audio, you can go to our Instagram at HillKingsPod, and you can see all of the slides from This Week in Arlen on the post the day that the episode drops.
Yes.
So if you want those visuals and you don't want to see our fucking faces, you can see that. Otherwise, like, subscribe, all that shit, and we'll see you next week.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Go Canucks. Go Whales.
I thought that was a shark.
Nah, baby.
Oh.
Hill Kings Podcast.
Woof.
Scoof.